Hello, welcome back to the bench. Today, we're going to do some work on my NT48 2.2. We had a nice race on the weekend. Texas two-step, Thornhill Racing Circuit. We basically did Saturday and Sunday, like two different races. So on Saturday, we had 2 rounds of qualifying starting in the morning, and then we ran mains in the afternoon. And then on Sunday, we did it again. We had quals in the morning and mains in the afternoon. And man, it was a blast. What a good time. If you're ever in the Hutto, Texas area, or Round Rock, just north of Austin, Pflugerville, that kind of area, Georgetown, come over and see us here at Thornhill. We have a great track and a great hobby shop and some great people. Yeah, so for the race, it was fun, man. We had, I ran my Nitro Truck and ebuggy, and I took 4th place in Nitro Truck. Some other folks had brakes, and that landed me in 4th overall for the weekend. So got a podium there, which was nice. And I could have podiumed on ebuggy, but I had a little bit of an equipment failure, and that's my trigger on my radio. I don't know if you guys can see that. My trigger on my radio completely broke off, like as I turned my car on to go up to the stand. And so I was like, I had 2 choices, right? I could either run the race with like a little nub to work with, and it was literally just a little nub, or pull it, right? I chose to try to run the race just because, I don't know, it felt like it was worth a shot. Unfortunately, I had a really hard time hitting the brake, and yeah, I almost hit a Marshall like twice. Sorry, Reggie. I did apologize to him after the race as well. At a certain point, I just kind of gave up on trying to get to brakes and just took it easy on the gas. I think I finished 10th in that main, but yeah, it is what it is. I shouldn't have run it anyway. I could have done better if I didn't brake. But I did fix it temporarily with some paper towel and CA glue. I also placed an order for some new trigger assemblies, 2 of them, and they're like $20 a piece or something like that for the whole assembly. So you have to take apart the radio and replace the whole assembly with the trigger. Yeah, so we'll have to do that whenever those show up. But in the meantime, I have this CA glue and paper towel, paper mache, and it works a treat. Really solid. So it'll do for now, but it's not ideal. The truck, yeah, had a good race. It was 25 minutes. Finished no problem. No flame outs, nothing like that. Everything went pretty well. I will say that at some point, I must have blown out this shock because there doesn't seem to be much oil left. The other side seems to be a little bit better, but not much. In the end, I was kind of floating around the track because like the car would bounce a lot. So I need to probably we'll take these shocks off at a minimum. We'll change the oils and everything like that. I'm going to examine the cartridges and those kind of things, make sure everything's solid there before we go too far, because it wouldn't make much sense to put back together a shock with a bad cartridge. This is going to leak later. So we'll straighten that out too. What else do we need to look at? I think that was kind of really it, unless we run into something else. And that is possible, right? We'll see. So I guess let's get right into it. What should we do? Let's take some shocks off. Oh, lucky. I don't have to use a turnbuckle wrench to hold the stand off. That doesn't happen every day. Oh, twice? Lucky. 3? Yeah. All right. And the last one, let's see. Yeah. No turbo wrench required. It doesn't happen very often. All right. These back screws, you have a left-handed thread and a right-handed thread. The one that is silver goes on your left-hand side as you're facing the front or back of the car. And the silver one is reverse threaded. I want to know, the shock feels light too. I think we might go up in the springs here too. This new layout, pretty tough, pretty technical. I'd like a little bit more support. So I think I'll go heavier springs and maybe a little bit heavier oil too. I was running about 600, 650 oil, front and back. But I think I might take that up to 700 or 750 and then take these springs up a level. We are going to have to do some identification on these springs to try to figure out what they are in the first place. That might be a little bit of a challenge. We'll sort that out. On the front, yeah, you can see all the oil all over this one from, I guess it blew out. Yeah. It's got a little bit of resistance, but not much. This one's got a little bit more, but it's still got a lot of oil around the bottom. It looks like it needs some work. The rears look good. Probably the only thing we have to do there is the springs. I think these are orange springs. Yeah, orange springs in the rear. So I might go up to red on those. I don't know what color these springs are. And all the color seems to be gone off of them. Let's see. There's some notches on there, but I don't know if they correspond to anything. I don't know if maybe the person who had these springs before me put those notches on there to identify. I could maybe ask them, but we'll fuddle through. Since we have orange on the back, I'll probably just put orange on the front and then red in the back, maybe. See how that goes. Yeah, let's do that. Let me grab my springs. If you ever need a spring, come see me at Thornhill. I can loan you one, no problem. We got all the springs. Let's go. Let's see this one. Let's see what we got on. This is gonna be messy, oily, gross, but oh well. Shit happens to good people. Take a spring perch. Well, we don't know what this spring is, but we need to know how long it is. Looks like it is 80 millimeters. So let's find a orange spring that's 80 mil. Some orange. There you go, that's the one. All right, so we'll go with these orange ones. I'll set them aside for now. And then I might look at red on the back. What do we have? We have yellow, orange, yellow, pink, What's pink? What is pink? Where's my techno spring chart? Let's see if I can pull. Truggy. NT. Let's try that. NT. I wonder if this chart is right. Let's see. No, can't be. They're too short. Where's the spring chart that's got Truggy springs? Yeah, this one. Maybe. Yeah. Pink, green, yellow, orange. Oh, there is not a red. There's not a red. I want to go yellow. Yellow or green. You know what? Tell you what. I have green on my electric. I'm gonna go with green. Green front, pink rear. That's what I've got in my electric. Let's do that. Green front, pink rear. See if we can find greens for the front. I think these are all fronts. Oop. These are all twisted together. Not good. How do I get these apart? Ah. Here we go. Green. Well, how length are these? And these 80 or 90? These are 90s. These are rears. That's not going to help us. We could put long on the front. I have... I think I've got long on my Truggy, on my e-truck too. I do. I have long greens on the front. Okay, perfect. We'll go long greens on the front. And then, yeah, we got to go find some long pinks for the rear. Here's some pinks. See if we can find a 90 mil pink. See if we can get these apart. There we go. So pink. Ooh, are these apart? How do these come apart? Wow. Okay. Pink. I thought this one was pink too, but I don't see any label on it. All right. Either way, let's measure it. That one's 80. These are pink and these are also 80. See if we have some pink 90s. Man, I should probably not use rubber bands like this. What a challenge this is. Whose idea was this? Oh, okay, fine. I just unscrew it. These are yellow, but ah, boy. Pink. This one is also pink. Is it 80 or 90? Please, 90? No, 80. Well, we have a lot of 80 mil pinks. Need a 90. These are 90. Let's see, that's yellow. You go yellow, maybe. 90 orange. 90 green. 90 yellow. Let me think about that. Yellow. Do a 90 green. Unless I can find some pink. rears. Oops. Oh my goodness. I have made a mess. All right. So I don't know what color these are. Here's a green 90 rear. Hey, I think these are right. I think these are both green 90s. What's a good way to tell? No, it can't be the same because it's got a different coil count, it seems. That won't do. So we have one green, one long green. This one's the right length, but it's the wrong. I think I'm 90% sure it's the wrong spring. Let's look at it this way. If we're to rotate at like 180, yeah, it looks like a different coil count for sure. Because those, see how these two meet right here? The rest of them should all meet up too, but they do not. One green, one long green. That's not good. Ooh, what's this one? This looks like orange. Well, that's problematic. One green. I guess we'll just go with these green 90s for the back. Yeah. Since I cannot find a 90 pink. I mean, could it hurt going short in the back? No, I don't think so. In fact, my buggy, I do that. I put, I actually reversed my springs in my buggy, my 2.2 ebug. I have my short springs from the front and the back, and my long springs from the back and the front. I can show you that, what it looks like. 1 second. We got long greens for the front. We don't need these greens. And some short pinks for the back. Perfect. Oh, my e-buggy. Yeah, so big long springs on the front that were off of the rear. I think these are, yeah, these are orange. And then on the back, I've got the short springs from the front. And I don't actually have another set of collars on this one, but sometimes, wow, that was way off ride height. That must have come loose during the race. Anyway, I don't have two sets of collars on these. Sometimes if you put short springs, you do need another set of collars on this to keep the springs kind of retained, because they are so short. Yeah. So yeah, we'll do that on the truck. All right. Where'd all our shocks go? Another stand over here. Use that for our shock builds. What else do we kind of need? I guess we're going to need oil. Let me get some shop oil. Let's go 700. Let's go 700, 650. We'll go 700 front, 650 in the rear. Yeah, let's do that. Oh, come on, springs, stand up. Thank you. So we'll put these together, and that'll be our build. We won't need calipers any longer until we do droop. All right. Let's jump into it. We're going to need, let's see, a 1.5. We're going to need 5.5 box for our putting it back together. We're going to need a wheel wrench. I like to use a screwdriver to take out shock caps. I'll show you how I do that. That should be everything, right? Springs, oils, chocks, tools. Yeah, let's go. Oh, I need a wrench. Yeah. Need a shock tool. Might replace this end. A little loose. Or put a little CA glue in it. Nitro cars, man. They beat on stuff. Oh, that shock shaft's bent. We'll need a new shock shaft. Shock shafts. I don't know if it's a long one or a short one. Short one. I don't know. We'll figure it out when we take it apart. Let me find some other shock shafts. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, the 3 long ones if we need them. We got a bunch of short ones if we need them. We'll figure it out. Shock. All right. So, take your wheel wrench. Your shock shaft goes right through the slot in the bottom. Your wheel wrench, you know, hold the shock body nice and tight. I use like a screwdriver. It's got a nice sturdy shaft on it. I run it through the eye and just crack the cap off that way. Let me get some paper towels over here. Towels. Let's empty the shock over here. And we said this shock shaft bent. Yeah, definitely. So a thing to do is to hang on to the shock body with your wrench. And you could get a wrench or something, but I just use a little pliers usually to undo the cartridge nut. Actually, usually it works a little bit easier than that. What the heck? This one must be on real tight. Hang on a sec. Let me find a nut driver for that. If I have one. This is problematic. Oop, I think I might have just found the solution. Yeah, the solution was to use the Techno Shock tool on the nut and then this on the shock body and then just twist it that way. So I just want to loosen that to get my shock shaft out. Got some MIP pistons. I don't even know what's in this, to be honest with you. I bought this truck off of a gentleman here at the track. And I've never opened this shock, I don't believe. Maybe I have. Yeah, I have. I don't recall. It's been a while. I don't know if I've ever pulled the piston out, to be honest. I'm sure I changed oils, but that's about it. So this is a 5mm nut on the back of the shock shaft. Man, how many pistons, or how many holes does this piston have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, MIP 12 hole. What's that say? Can we focus on that? It's too dark. Let me see if I can like that better. Can't get a look at that. 1.8 maybe is what it says. We'll go with that. I'll have to ask the gentleman. We need short shock shaft. This one's bent. Let's throw this one out. I don't, I go back and forth between these nitrided shock shafts, the tin nitride, the titanium nitride, or whatever. I don't know if it makes a whole lot of difference, to be honest with you. Certainly not for me. I'm not a super fast racer, and I don't know that the coating makes a difference to me or not. Well, it probably does. I'm just not aware. Oh my goodness. All right. These MIP pistons have bypass valves on the top side, so that when the rebound lets it flow by faster, so you get a faster rebound than without. Get a little oil on the bottom of the shock shaft to make sure that it slides through the cartridge nice and easy. I know I have grease in there, so I'll just send it. And then we tighten this nut down. Doesn't have to be super tight, just tight enough to make sure that it's not going to leak. And we said we were going to go 700 in the front with long spring. So 700 oil. Fill your shock most of the way. Give it a pump just to clear any air bubbles. Maybe a couple of pumps. And then just top it up. And we'll wait for the bubbles to come up out. And in the meantime, we'll build our other shocks. Or take these other ones apart. And we'll kind of do these same process, right? I'll take these apart, fill them, and then we'll let them sit and get the bubbles out while we take apart the next one. one's still nice and tight. Wheel wrench. Where did my heavy duty screwdriver go? I like to keep shock caps on real tight. There's a chance that they come out without your permission, and that's not okay. Yeah, I definitely lost some oil in this one. About 5 or 6 millimeters light, you know, like down on the shock. Let's see if this one shock shaft's bent. It appears that it is. Yeah. We have to check that cartridge anyway, because we definitely had a leak. So let's do that. Let's go. Why? There it goes. Take a look. See if there's just some, oh, there's just like some nasty stuff in here. Dirt. And the O-rings look good. Just a little dirty. Funky. Maybe that's all it was. And maybe I put some grease in there. I think I have some replacement rings too. But, I mean, these look really good. They just need to be cleaned up. Clean them up, grease them, and they go put them back. Yeah, I mean, all the holes are still round. Everything looks good. Yeah, we just need some grease in there to get it. What did I do with my grease? Ah. It's just the black grease that comes with in your Techno kit. You can use this. You can use green slime. There's some other stuff different people use. I just use the kit grease, and I just like to get enough down in there that it kind of packs into the O-rings. Help keep the seal with the shock shaft. Yeah, that looks good. And we'll tighten that down until we put the shock shaft through 5.0. This is funny. I'm actually going to have two different shock shafts, right? One in the front is going to be just the standard, and this one's going to be the coated. Maybe we'll see the difference. Oil on there. Yeah. And then just wipe off the grease that came through with the shock shaft. And we'll go 700 in the front. Give it a pump. Blow the air out. Give 2 pumps. Top it up. Wait for the air bubbles to come out. And I'll turn this so I don't get confused, because this is from... Pop the spring perch off. Spring. Still don't know what color this is. If you're not familiar with these limiters, I'll tell you about those here in a second as I take them off. Basically, these are shock cartridge parts, the Delrin spacers that you would use in the shock cartridge itself. Like this is the hat that would come out the bottom, and this is the spacer that it sits in between the O-rings inside of the shock cartridge. We use these to limit down travel. Oh, the shock shaft meant to. How about that? We use these to limit down travel. So the shock can't completely compress. And it's just about 6 millimeters worth of spacing. Let me check that just to be totally sure. Yeah, 6 millimeter. So 6 millimeter of down travel limit, just to keep the car from having the chassis slap too hard and getting it nervous. Always an attempt to avoid your car being nervous. Man, that was on there hard. Yeah, let's take this one apart too. Yeah, let's try the other side. Try it this way. Yeah. Nice. To replace all our shock shafts today. This is unfortunate. Let's go with silver long ones this time. No. And that didn't want to come out of there. Go. I don't know if this little plier grips as well as the Techno one. I know it doesn't. Okay. Nice. And we'll go 650 in the back. Give it a pump, get on the air out, and then we'll top it up and let it sit, and the bubbles come out. In the meantime, we'll take this next one apart. That spring perch doesn't want to let go. Why? There it goes. Our down travel limits are caked up with dirt. And let's take this cap off and see if this shock shaft is bent too. I bet it is. We'll see, but I bet it is. Oops, I'm making a mess. Empty this guy out. All right. Is this shock shaft bent? Oh my gosh. It's not. I mean, a little bit. But not enough to stop me. 650. While I'm doing this, I might also grab my head heater and put it on because I would like to give this thing a rip once we're done. If I can find my head heater. I can find a head heater. Oop. There's my head heater. If you guys don't know, JW Heaters. Shout out to Mr. Whiting. Will that focus? There you go. JW Heaters. Great head heater. I got a video on the channel replacing the heating element in there because I'm dumb. And I screwed up the heating element. Mr. Whiting was nice enough to send me a new heating element, so I put a video together showing you how to replace the heating element in your JW heater. Yeah. Go on. There we go. So yeah, we'll leave that run while we do the rest of our work here. All right, it looks like these front ones are ready to rock. Yeah. This looks like a brand new shock cap. Can I do that? Let me get another paper towel. And to tighten these down, I just do the reverse. I use my screwdriver again and the wheel wrench and tighten it like that. From here, we just need to bleed it. You know, in the build manual for your Techno, they talk about taking bleeding the shock basically like this, then pumping it 20 times and bleeding it again. I've taken to just bleeding it this once. So what I typically do is squeeze the shock in my fingers like this and undo the bleeder screw slowly, and you'll see the oil and air start to leak out. And then yep, the little chute right there at the end was the last little bit. Then just put the screw back on And make sure you don't tighten these too tight, as they will strip out the shock cap. The threads will strip out inside of there, and you need a new shock cap. And these things are not inexpensive. I don't remember what the cost is, but they are not inexpensive. It's one of those things that you place, unless you screw it up, you know. But this should now be a dead shock. I like to be able to compress it and not have any rebound, maybe just a little, and expand it and not have any rebound. I didn't tighten down this cartridge. Oopsie. Maybe now I do need to pump it and bleed it again, because I didn't tighten down the cartridge. Let's do it. That shock feels good. Oops. That's firm. Get bleed. Little air popped out. All right. Yeah, nice. Dead. All we need to do is put our eye back on and our spring perch. Let's see. Oh, this is a loose one. I said I was going to put some CA glue. Yeah, let's do that. So I just put a little bit of a dab of CA glue, and that usually, as you thread it onto the end of the shock shaft, it'll cure and into those threads. And yeah, you can hear it. Yeah, you can hear it nice and tight when I twist it. So we're going to go long greens in the front. How's that for non-traditional? How many threads do I have showing on my electric truck? Just like 2, 3. Yeah, 3. On green, we need a perch. And then we can put our retainer grub screw back in the perch. This shock is rebuilt, ready to go back on the car. And as for this heater, I tend to leave these things on about 10 minutes or maybe 15. It depends on how long it takes. I like to get, this is taught to me, by the way. I didn't come up with this on my own. But I like to keep the head heater on until I can feel the warmth of the motor through the bottom of the chassis. I like to make sure it's got plenty of heat. And then I'll take it out and run it. All right. These screws stand proud of the shock cap, so you do not want those facing out. Like, they shouldn't be facing out of the car. They should be facing in towards the shock tower. And then the retainer screw on the perch should face the outside of the car. Like so. And then for me, I like to lay my shocks down. As you can see, I've got, I think the inside hole on the, or next to the inside hole on the top, and the far outside hole on the bottom. Oh, that's a 5. Oh, where's my 5.5? There. And why, you know, we lay our shocks down because I'm old. I like an easy to drive car. And I feel like when I lay my shocks down, you know, more like this, instead of like this would I would say standing upright, and these would be laying down. Laying down just, it makes the car easier to drive. I don't know what the effect is overall, but it just feels good to me. So I keep it like that. This is just one of those things that, you know, if you're a racer, and if you're somebody like me who has to screw around and find out, right? I don't like to. I don't like to listen to what I'm told very often, especially when a person presents themselves as some kind of authority. That makes me. If somebody tells me they're an authority, and then tells me something, I'm probably not going to listen to a word they're saying because they had to tell me they were an authority in the first place, right? They should never have to tell me they're an authority. If you are an authority, you project that. You don't even need to worry about telling it. It's not something you need to tell somebody. You got it or you don't. I told my kids one time, my daughter asked me, she said, "Dad, am I cool?" Or no, or maybe she said she was cool. She stated she was cool. And I said, if you have to say you're cool, you are not cool. That's just how that works. Now, anybody who tells you that there's something, they're probably not that thing. They're probably just trying to pass themselves off as that thing. They might be a shyster. I don't know if that word's offensive. I think that means, somebody who would try to get one over on you. But I don't know where that word comes from, or if it's considered a slur or something. If it is, I'm sorry, and I don't know better, and I'll try to learn. You can tell me if I'm a butthole in the chat. Okay. Nice dead shock. I did already tighten the cartridge on this one. What do I do with my boot? Here. Let's wipe that off a little bit. It's covered in muck. See if these threads are loose too. I'll put a dab of glue on this one as well. Like I said, I just put a little dab of CA glue in and then thread it on, and I'll put the up next to my microphone and you can hear it. Yeah, nice and tight. All right, let's back this collar off. And we'll set ride height at the end, but I'm setting it close to where my electric truck is, because it's basically the same setup. It's not exactly the same setup, but it's basically the same setup. Oh, I smell that head heater warming up. It starts to cook off the oil and things like that that's on the head. And I don't know, man. There's something about it that smells nice. Is that weird? Oh, I must have taken this cap off of a different shock. I have to switch the bushing around. Right? Right? Yeah, I need to keep my screw head down, so yep. Right. Okay. 5. Black screw for the right hand side, right-handed thread, right? Get these lined up. There it goes. Got this car pretty clean when I cleaned it up. You guys don't know my cleaning method. I stole it from Mr. Bogey Gibbons. He taught me. I'll teach you. It's nice and easy. I got a little air compressor over here. It's nice and quiet. You can't even hear it. It's running right now. And then I take my car and I spray the front, the whole front end clip down with WD-40. I spray the whole back clip down with WD-40, and then spray it all off. I happened to not run out of WD-40 today, so I didn't get this one completely clean, but it looks pretty good. Yeah. All right, so that is the front done. Feels great. Yeah, so much better than before. It was so sloppy before. Now it feels nice and firm. Once I get some tires on it, I can see how it feels on the bench. Let me finish up these rears. And then we'll see. We'll give everything a wiggle and see what still needs to be tightened. There's probably some things. When you run Nitro, you know, there is so much vibration in the car, and you're running, you know, a 5-minute qual, and then, you know, a 25 or 30 or 45-minute main. Imagine all of that vibration over, you know, 35 laps, right? So it's not, you know, an ebuggy, there's not as much vibration, number one, and number two, the race is so short that it almost doesn't matter. And on Nitro, you better make sure everything's tight before you start a race, because there's a chance it could rattle loose and you don't finish your race. That happened to some folks on the weekend, right? Didn't happen to me, but happened to some folks on the weekend. And, you know, part of the game is keeping your car together in order to finish the race. If your car doesn't stay together, you can't finish the race. You're obviously not making a podium, right? No. All right. Boot. That's mucky. Okay. Yeah. And then I'll replace these limits. Like I said, I like to use these just to keep the car from slapping all the way down in the back. You know, what it kind of does is makes the car a little bit less nervous when you on landings and stuff like that. Especially if you're somebody who tries to downside jumps. If you're somebody who tries to downside jumps, you really don't want your rear to compress all the way so you get your chassis on the ground and you lose grip. Right, pink. And then how far do we have to wind these down? Long way. That's what we get for using short springs. I'm gonna match this up to my electric truck ish, and then we'll set ride height and everything like that once we get some wheels on it and can get it on the bench. Let's see, is that close? Pretty close. Right. Oh, spring perch grub screw. Y'all would have been hollering at me. Hey, buddy, you forgot your spring perch screw, retainer screw. All right. So again, this screw faces down and in, and the retainer out. And same thing here on the back. I run my shock is on the next to inside hole on the top and the middle hole on the bottom. So not as laid down on the back as in the front. Line up. Oh. There we go. And again, this one's your right-handed screw, the black one. And then on the left-hand side, you'll use the silver left-handed thread screw. All right, and oh, we need a nut. Shoulder nut on the top, so our shock doesn't fall off. My kid did that on the weekend. He had a cartridge blow out one of his shocks, and he rebuilt it, put it back on the car, and he forgot to put a nut on the standoff. And you know, he went around warm-ups, and of course the shock come off, and man, I had to run back over here to the camper, try to find a flange nut real fast, then run back out there with that and a wrench and try to get it back together real quick, and he made his race. And then, like I said, he finished third overall for the weekend in that in his electric. All right, just about done here. You can clean this up a little bit. Oof, it covered in muck. I ran out of WD-40, like I said, and so I didn't get all this nastiness off. This must have been on my left side behind my exhaust, because it's caked. Any of you Nitro guys know that your exhaust spews oil and run down the track, it sweeps right back onto the car. You know, so you got oil and dirt all caked up in there together. Everything else. All right. Oh, we need a boot. And we need to bleed it. Oh my gosh. That could have been real bad. That would have been like, would have hit like a brick. Phew, that was close. I would have got out there and made a mess. Oh, I need to switch that bushing around. All right, boot. My chassis feeling warm yet? Oh yeah. Nice. Ooh, my limits. All right. Spring perch. Good. Retainer. All right. Last one done. And then we'll throw it on the bench, set ride height, and we'll give her a rip. See how she does. Like I said, I'll give everything a wiggle and make sure there's nothing else that needs to be tightened. And I'll kind of explain what I check and why I check it as I go. So, yeah, that finishes my shocks. Yeah, look good, feeling good. All right, so let me put these back. Oh, it's trash. I have to get some more shock shafts soon, seems. Okay, so the things I like to check. On my cars, the things that vibrate loose the most are my camber link screws on the shock tower inside, here in the back. I check these all the time, give them a wiggle and make sure. I never have any trouble with the ends of the arms. Out here, no issues ever. But I do check periodically just to make sure everything's still tight. But definitely the inside camber links, check every race. Shock standoffs, I check every race. Make sure to give these things a wiggle. See if they're nice and tight. The bottom ends of the shocks, they never come loose, so you don't have to worry about those too much. Camber links inside on the front, I check all the time. Then also on the front, I always check these outside camber link ends, and I always check the steering link ends, because sometimes these screws can come loose, they'll work their way loose. And then I'll check my steering inside ends too, to make sure that those are nice and tight. And then come back and check the steering link screws. Everything's good there. And for the most part, you don't have to worry about too many other screws. You're on the Nitro, you definitely want to check your mesh all the time. To make sure that your motor's not walking away. As if your mesh comes free, or if your motor comes free during a race, you're not finishing it. And like we said, that's not okay. Previously on a video, I put the One Army JTP motor mount in this thing. Love it. So far, it's been great to me. I haven't had a single bit of problem. I will actually check my mesh right now, just to be sure. It's a little loose, actually, so let's tighten it up. The tighten mesh on Nitros, I like to come in and clean out my screw holes, obviously, my screw heads. That's first. This is an engraver. I have a quick tip on the channel around this thing with a link to be able to buy it off of Amazon. Wonderful tool. The viewer put me on. Makes life easy. These screws are in here super tight. I was just making sure. I Loctite these and crank them down. That one was a little loose. I might have to get some more Loctite on that one. That one too. Okay. That one's nice and tight. That one was loose. Okay. All right. Let me do that now. Loctite them. Oh, no, not that one. This screw on the stock Techno motor mount is all connected, like, so it's these two screws and this one in the front, like all on one rail. The One Army JTP mount does not have, this is the flex mount, so it's actually missing the section that goes between this screw and this screw, and it has a break in the middle, and then they just actually 3D printed a small little thing here to hold your fuel tank in the front. So there's a gap here. So the only 4 screws we really need to worry about are these. They're the only ones doing any work. So let's put some, that one feels good. I don't need Loctite on that one. This is weird. It's nice and tight here, but like down low where, you know, it was all the way snug, it was a little bit loose. So what can I do? I can just put more thread lock. Maybe I'll put some in the hole. Do it like that. Yeah. All right, so I like to get these like snug and then back them off just a little bit. And I'll leave one really snug. And I can do my adjustment with that one that's really snug. This is very difficult to back off from here. Maybe it doesn't need Loctite either. Yeah, okay. Wow. This one was loose. Yeah. That came out too easy. Let's get some thread lock in there. All right, so snug and then back it off. Turn. Like I said, I want to keep these like 3 somewhat loose, and then I'll keep one kind of tight. This one kind of tight. So I want to be able to move the motor, but not have it move back. Right? Oh, that feels good. So we'll tighten that. Tighten this one. Tighten this one. Tighten this one. And then I'll turn it over and crank them all down with the driver. My trusty screwdriver, put it through the handle here, and use it as a cross wrench, and put all the torque onto these guys. Yeah. And then, yeah, nice and free. Yeah, I give it a turn just to make sure that it's not bound. If your mesh is too tight, your mesh will bind up. You won't have much fun. But this one's nice and free. What else? I think that's pretty much it. All the screws on the bottom look good. We checked everything up here. Checked everything, see if it was tight. We checked everything back here, see if everything was tight. We put some heat in the motor. I think that's it until we can go out and give it a rip. Let's put some wheels back on it. Then we can kind of get a sense of what our shock setup feels like. Who knows? I might have to tear it all apart and start over again. These tires are Promotion Raptors. They worked out pretty well yesterday and on Saturday. I did run them both days, which is why they're pretty bald. As I'm just going out for some practice laps, I'm not going to worry about whether or not they work for today. If they do, great. If they don't, I don't care. I'll learn how to drive with bad tires. Oops. All right. Put our tools away. Yeah, I think that's it. Let's go give it a rip, and I'll see you in the next video.